Welcome. We are here. This is Unscripted. My name's Tim Lindsay. Aaron McLaughlin is on the other side of your screen or the other side of your iPod or iPad or whatever you may be listening to if you're grabbing the audio version of this. And we wanted to introduce ourselves. And obviously, this is episode 0. And what do we mean by that? We're setting the table. We're explaining what the hell's going on right now. So insofar as making sure that we introduce ourselves properly and really what we want the show to grow into over time. We thought maybe we'd take the questions that would be obvious to get us through that conversation and ask one another those questions. So first and foremost, probably important to understand our background and where we're coming from and sort of the why are we doing this now? Because we sit here in the midst of the third undertow of the first wave of COVID or wherever we are right now in the midst of all that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are obviously launching their podcast, whether it be out of boredom or they've got the itch they want to scratch or whatever the case may be. So, Aaron, help me fill in the blanks here on why we're doing this now.
Okay. So, why are we doing this now? First and foremost, we like to talk to each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we haven't been in a room together for 5 whole months.
Well, I guess I haven't wound that clock. So, just to go behind the curtain a little bit, open the kimono, as they would say. Aaron and I work together professionally, and we have not. Has it been?
Yeah.
All right. So it was March 12th. You and I were at a conference.
Yes.
Good Lord, to the day.
That's the last.
Wow.
Yes, that's the last time we were in a room together.
And then the next day was D-Day. It was Friday, March 13th, which is incredible because that's when most people, their workplaces changed and people's children came home from school and all that. We call it, I guess Friday the 13th. We call it Black Friday, the day everything changed. So that being said, you had been hounding me for quite some time that we just wanted something else, some sort of a passion project, and that play into what we're going to get into here. We just need something creative, right? And it's so if you talk to great coaches or anybody you're sitting with that gives you any guidance in your professional life, personal life, your faith, whatever the case may be, it's what are you going to do to earn, to learn, and to burn, right? So are you doing something to stretch your mind muscle? Are you doing something to make sure that you're creating opportunity for your family? And then above and beyond that, keep yourself creative, and are you doing something to keep yourself fit, both physically and mentally fit? So this will stretch our creative muscle, I suppose. And both of us have a history of podcasts.
Yes.
That too. So go ahead. Tell me about yours.
So I had a podcast, I don't know if it was about a year, with a teacher friend of mine from my previous career before I became, before I guess I was in real estate and I became a coach in real estate. I was a coach and a trainer for public schools. And one of my close friends was going through some stuff, and she said, let's start a podcast. I want a reason to talk to you every week. And I said, okay, cool, let's do it. So we recorded it in the basement of my house.
Sounds awful. Keep going.
It was fantastic. And we looked forward to it every week. And we sort of just talked about like personal growth and development and side hustles, like the gig economy, right? And and the state of public schools in America and our experience as public school teachers and kids and child development and being working moms and all of that stuff. It's been about a year since I guess, stopped doing that podcast, a little over maybe. And I miss the creative aspect of podcasting, having conversations and building content, if you will, and looking like you're kind of always looking for stuff to talk about when you have a podcast. So you're like, hey, that would be a cool thing to talk about, or that'd be a cool person to talk to, or, there's that aspect of building and creating and connecting, which feels really good in podcasting. So so here we are. And
and the freedom of that now. So you were a year ago. Now you have to go back quite some time to when I was doing it. So our good friend that we work with he and I had met earlier through radio.
Yeah.
And as radio was dying, if you remember the movie Almost Famous, where the young kid, he's pretending to write for Rolling Stone, and he's walking up the street with Lester Bang, and Lester Bang goes, "Man, you're here just in time for the death rattle." So that was about the moment that me and my friends at our radio station were like, we just want to do something different. We were in a cluster that had a rock station and a top 40 station, and we just wanted to, be most of us being from Massachusetts, we just wanted to be massholes and get on and talk sports, kid, right? So we had a podcast that we did called Wicked Piss a Dude, and I think we're to the point where we were doing like a Monday night show to cover all the weekend stuff, and then a Thursday show to get into the weekend. We got our listenership up. I know you and Vanessa experienced. It's pretty cool to look down and see listeners all over the world.
Yeah.
And that really is going to speak to what we're going to get into and why we decided in such a saturated industry right now where my grandmother has a podcast. Like, okay.
Well, that's okay. I want to hear grandma's story.
Everybody has, you're going to find your tribe, right? So we were doing that. We really loved it. My point being, when we were doing it, because the tech was so good back then, it wasn't. We would Rochambeau basically, and we got into a rotation where my good friend Billy Corey, we affectionately call him Rubber Shoes because he loves his Crocs. So either Rubber Shoes was going to take everybody's separate audio file and then produce it down, or maybe one time it was me, Adam, or me. We were bringing friends in, so we'd bring in friends that maybe had a proclivity to gamble more than us. We'd bring them in to set the books for the weekend games and stuff.
Perfect.
We'd literally take the phone and place it close to our microphone so we could hear them on speed. Like, that was the tech then.
Oh,
now we've got better toys, and I've got some of our better toys that are still in boxes because we're trying to figure out how we're going to do this. Because you and I originally said we'll be in the same room. It's going to be great.
It was going to be great. It was. It's still great.
So just to lift the curtain a little bit more, both of us have offices in New Hampshire. I'm in Portsmouth right now. You're up in Meredith right now.
Yep.
I'm staring at 3 guest microphones on the other side of my
guests.
office. For when we can all play together again.
Yeah.
That being said, the tech has changed. It's going to be an easier workflow, but it's just so funny to think back. We initially or eventually got just tired with the machination of producing it. And life got in the way, and we got away from it. Now, over the past few years, both my good friend Billy Corey and Adam DeYoung have we revisited, like, we should do it again. We should do it again. And I don't know. They're going to be like, so you're doing it again. You just didn't do it with us. I don't know. It's fun.
They can come on anytime. I know Vanessa's actually like, so what's really funny is she's launched 2 episodes of her new podcast without me. So she and that's, I think she's probably recording right now her episode number 3. So it's so funny because I think there
episode number 3, Erin left me.
Yeah, Erin, all by myself. But there's something about podcasting that I think the story aspect of it, the fact that you can just sort of reach who it's meant to be for, and it's not necessarily commercial and packaged and perfect. I love the raw element of it.
Sure.
Obviously there are produced podcasts. That's not what we're going for here, I think.
Well, the radio guy in me, the radio guy in me, we're going to lift the lid a little bit. You're going to see graphical overlays eventually. I've got a friend who is a rock star in the voiceover industry, so he'll probably end up coming to a theater near us eventually. I think I just wanted to come in ground level, so people that do follow us, and as we do find our tribe and more people spend time, whether they're listening or whether they are viewing the podcast, you're going to see it grow before your very eyes. We just got to a point where we truly do have all the tech we need, to the point that we've got our good cameras now. You've got an actual XLR mic. I'm so proud of you. Like all these kind of things that we just knew was going to lift it, because you can do it. And there's some great people out there that teach it. We're actually going to have a guest coming up soon. One of my good friends from New Hampshire who's since moved to Houston, and he's pursuing everything that he wants to do right now. And that's really the direction of the show to go is, are you able to take your passion, turn it into your profession, and then, 2 things. Not that it needs to be profitable, but can you be profitable, and can you also be philanthropic through that endeavor. And we want to have those conversations. This is going to be more of a, there'll be some episodes that you're going to just see Aaron and I. It's going to be stream of consciousness because we both like to drink coffee and talk. And then there's going to be times where we're bringing on people from in and around New England and friends that we've made in New England who are elsewhere on planet Earth, who are just doing really cool stuff with stories that we want to share. And that's what really this boils down to. My point being, there's people out there crushing podcasts with just their phone. They've got it set up. I mean, your phone, arguably, your phone is probably more expensive than your aunt's computer right now. I just say that much, right? So you've got the capability to shoot and share content from anywhere. And that's why phones look like they do right now, because people are viewing content. And that's why we thought it was important that this is both going to be on YouTube Live to get to, where you're going to find us. It's going to be on YouTube. You're going to be able to see us on our Facebook page. And then from an audio content, I think we're going to drop it into Anchor and just let it fly. So, which is another important thing. The audio is really important. We've learned that. I think some people focus on getting a really good camera, and then it sounds like they're getting mugged underwater when they start talking. So
for sure.
If we're having some technical difficulties tonight, we appreciate you sticking with us. I knock on Formica. I think we're good. And we're going to go with no net. So when you see us, this is live. If somebody bursts into your office or my office, they're going to be on the show.
Yeah, so that's it. Welcome to Unscripted.
That's where it's at.
Let's hear it. Yeah, that's where we're at. We're just going to let it rip.
Yep. So I guess getting more into, why jump into this now when everybody's doing a podcast? It's interesting that the industry, I think anybody who's in a sales-driven industry, you could argue, well, nobody needs one more person selling that. And it's really about, well, who are you in relationship with? And then how do you grow that, right? So, we know that we're looking to find people who are, clearly already in relationship with us. That's where it's going to start. And then how can we continue to build content that people are going to share? And then above and beyond that, we're going to catch somebody somewhere on a, this would be important to you page or whatever the case may be. So we're not looking to play to everybody. We're looking to find our people. And this is not, for Aaron and I, this is a passion project. This is not about, well, how soon can we monetize this? And then there's going to be a Ford ad halfway through. And then hopefully, just like Joe Rogan, we'll get a quadrillion dollars from Spotify. That's not the end game. We want this to be a platform that we can share our love of conversation first and foremost. Above and beyond that, just having another conversation. I think wildly important right now. And I know people are starting to come out of their houses, and it's almost like that scene where she kicks the door open and the Wizard of Oz goes from black and white to color, and people are like rubbing their eyes. I know some people are starting to venture out of their house. And also, I think if you're keeping your eyes on the numbers, if you're a news watcher, I've got 2 TVs going in my office right now. If you're a news watcher, the numbers could be sending us back inside soon. And our reality here in the United States could be changing or globally could be changing. So I think the need for human connection, albeit really electronic right now, is important as well. And for people to have a place to join us and spend some time with us. And I guess that being said, we want to make sure that people understand we're looking to have a conversation with you if you feel like you're the person that fits the mold with us.
Join us if you want to. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's the whole thing, is like, it's just a conversation and telling stories and feeling connected. And there used to be a show on public radio years ago, and you might remember they had a storytelling booth that they went around the country with.
Okay.
Do you remember it? Did you ever hear it? So it was really cool. So anyway, they had people could go in and tell snippets of their life story, just average people. And, then they would play them randomly throughout the year. And it would be like a little clip of someone telling a story about going to their grandma's, or, the first time someone paid them for a job they did, or something. And they were sort of ordinary and significant at the same time. And for me, that's the part of story and connection and meeting with people. That's sort of my vision for this, is to be able to hear those magnificent moments in people's ordinary lives that can inspire us to take some risks in our own lives and recognize that while this may be saturated, I live in an abundant world where there's opportunity for all of us to be recognized and to participate. Whether there's, a million podcasters or a billion podcasters, there's always room for one more. So I think for me, this feels like that's going to be a good space for this, and for people to come and just hang out with us, and hopefully we'll get inspired.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, if I was shooting for like a big target, I would say shows that I'm attracted to. And this is where it's very careful. We have to be very careful that we're not trying to, serve, well, this is what I want to do.
Right.
Although I'm thinking about, if we're finding our tribe, I'm thinking about the fact that, and I don't normally set to watch this, but on a Sunday morning, if I catch like CBS This Morning, I'm talking about the fact that there's that show. Here we go. Everybody get ready to judge me. Chronicle in Boston and New Hampshire Chronicle. I'm also talking about 60 Minutes. It's all those things that, like, I will record those without fail. And then, and 60 Minutes is always late because of NFL football, which won't be a problem this year because they're, well, anyway.
No football.
That being said, and I'll always check to see what the 3 stories or 4 stories are. And if there's something of interest, I'm gonna want to watch that, just because I'm gonna learn something I didn't know, or I'm gonna hear about something that remotely interests me. And to me, that's where the growth is. More importantly, I want a big piece of this to be demystifying the overnight success. That is such a bucket of bullshit with a side of fries. Like, oh, she's an overnight success. Well, you didn't see the 20 years of grind leading up to that. And to be able to uncover and celebrate those stories is going to be a big part of what we want to do too. So.
Yeah, I had that conversation with my daughter in the car yesterday. Was like, Mommy, how come all the famous people, like, they just become famous? And I'm like, no, that's because the person telling you the story is only telling part of the story. And she was like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, oh, you know that song from Lizzo that we love? She wrote that song 10 years ago. 10. And she's like, what? I'm like, yeah, before you were born, babe, she wrote that song.
You're gonna sing the Lizzo song for me? No,
I could. But like, she wrote that song 10 years ago, and she's been working and performing and continuing to write music. And then, like, all of a sudden this song reaches critical mass, and it's on the radio and it's everywhere, and she's crazy famous now. She's been grinding for 10 plus years, but what a shame that no one knows that story, right? Like, why do we only celebrate when you get to the top? We don't celebrate the journey on the way. Like, it's mind-blowing.
Well, you make a great point though, but most of the universe doesn't know you're famous till you're famous, right? It's like, but yes, do people even care about the backstory and what got you there? And that's the kind of stuff we want to uncover. So just off the top of my head, you've got your friend who is a restaurateur over in your part of our beautiful state in New Hampshire.
Yes.
I've got
a few friends. Yeah.
One of my, you've got a lot of friends. I'm just foreshadowing on some of the people we're going to talk to. One of my good friends who is a physiologist and an athlete. Well, I should say, an ultra athlete coach, working with people, cycling, marathons, all that kind of stuff, just well-rounded. And he went from working a full-time job and truly becoming just ground out in that position to saying, I'm betting on me. And one day, December 31st, peace out. January 1st, all him. And he's got his own coaching program, and he's a phenomenal talent. And he practices what he preaches. And he's the coach that I pay to yell at me to get on my bike. And clearly, right, the coach can only do so much. Timmy's got to get on his bike. So all that aside,
responsible for yourself.
Yeah. So we're probably going to delay that, because bringing him on here, he's just going to yell at me. But we're going to talk to him.
I'd like to see that.
We're gonna talk to our good friend Brian. I think might be on with us next. He'll certainly be our first guest, and he's just going to talk about the fact. I mean, so what an incredible story. Worked up here in the tech arena. Went to Houston, opened up his own tech company. Always has wanted to do comedy. He's doing that now. He teaches a podcast class at the University of Houston, And he's also now got a second podcast. He's got a business one for business leaders in Houston. He's got a second podcast that he's doing now called Breaking Down Bits, where he and a fellow comedian throw stand-up on. They watch it together, almost like that science fiction theater. They watch it together
with the little puppet
Yeah,
guys.
and then they pause it and they talk about the bit and why it worked or didn't work and what direction it went. So
that's really interesting and very scientific about comedy, and almost maybe it would make me not like jokes anymore.
Yeah,
just saying.
But it's really cool how like his dorky techie self made him so analytical about comedy and how that all plays together. And then he's in the midst of right now a huge nutritional change, and he's getting ready for the Houston Marathon. So he's going to be a really cool conversation, and we're excited to have him on too. So we've got a handful of people. If you think you know somebody, if it's you that has a story that we should be looking into, that we can have on in the future, our address is unscriptedtheshow@gmail.com.
Yes.
And that, if you send us an email, and we'll put it in the show notes under the video as well, for you guys to say, hey, I think you should talk to this person. They're doing X, Y, or Z, and we can see.
Yeah, tell us who we should talk to.
Absolutely. So what else we got? What other blanks do we need to fill in to make sure everybody's up to speed for episode 0? And you beg, why episode 0? We'll let you in on some podcasting 101. You want the episode 0 because we need to put this out. This is almost like the chum in the water for the sharks, right?
Yeah, get it going. Like,
you drop episode 0 down.
Somebody pay attention to us.
Yeah. This is us waving our hands. Yeah,
we're here. Come say you like us.
Yeah, this is us in the dinghy firing the flare into the air, so the ships can come find us. So episode 0, we wanted to set the table, introduce ourselves, talk a little bit about how we got here, our history of podcasting, and why we think this is going to be a fun conversation that we're just going to continue on. We've roughly made the decision that we think we're going to go every other Wednesday. Aaron likes to talk, I like to talk, and then how do we get to the name of the show? We have to talk about too.
That might be
probably leaning into every other Wednesday because we want the consistency of Wednesday. If we're here next Wednesday, it's because we like to talk a lot. So we'll see where this goes. And above and beyond that, we're going to pepper the guests in. And I don't think we intend to seasonalize it. We're just going to keep going. Episode 3,984. Yeah.
And hopefully people will listen, or we'll just be talking to each other, and that's cool too.
Yep.
You know, I got out of driving to basketball tonight. Okay. So if this gets me out of driving to Tingsboro every Wednesday, then guess this is where I'll be.
As soon as you get Gwen's basketball schedule, you'll be like, I've got a show booked that night, that night. Maddie's going to love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm a little background for you as well. I guess so people understand. It's you and Maddie and the girls.
Yes.
And it's myself and Janina and the boys. So we've got armies at home wondering where we are. Not that it's that late, although
it feels late.
Doesn't it? I know. Well, I know sunset, at least here on the East Coast, is supposed to be 8:28 tonight. Although I'm in an interior office with a window to the hallway and the glass is frosted, and so I have no idea.
I spent a lot of time in the basement. What's going on there?
Where you do your best work. Those college days. Those college days. Where's McLaughlin? Which I'm glad we got back to that. So we thought for about 3 seconds, Lindsay and McLaughlin sounds like the worst Irish law firm on the planet. So we didn't want to go with that. Or Tim and Aaron. We are business coaches. We're constantly working with our clients to make sure that they are having the conversations that are going to get them to where they need their businesses to be. So in that vein, we thought it was ironic where clearly you and I wired the way we are. We are very outside of our business. We're very unscripted. And then I would argue that we always joke that spontaneity is a conditioned reflex, right? So if you have always worked on what you're using for scripts in your business, we thought Unscripted was an appropriate name for the company and for the podcast. So
because we're going to take a break from all those scripted conversations. That's what people were asking me all day today. Oh, you guys are you going to do when? And I've had texts since last week. When is the podcast happening? And is it going to be about work? And
super important. A lot of people were asking us, is it going to be about our industry? And we chose I said politely to Aaron, I'm going to go hard no on that because
hard no.
I don't, we're not going to avoid our industry. At the same time, we want this to be a cool place for us to come play after work. So that's the way we're looking at it. We want to have diverse conversations and talk to a lot of different people about a lot of different things that they're doing. So Unscripted seemed to make sense. It pulls us out of our Monday through Friday 9 to 5, and then above and beyond that, I just sat and I sort of chicken scratched. I envisioned what I thought I wanted it to look like, and then we gave it to our good friend April, and she brought it to life. So that's the logo that you see on your mic and my mic, and you'll see on all of our pages on Facebook and YouTube and such. So I think that brings people up to speed. I don't know if there's anything else we can add before we wrap up here.
No, I think that's it. I think, I don't think there's anything else for tonight.
Well, we had questions that we wanted to make sure we hit. So why now? We talked about that. We don't care about, we weren't, you can easily get in your own head and say, well, why would you do it now? Everybody else is doing a podcast. And truth be told, there's a million reasons to not do something, right? And if we're going to find our tribe, and if we're going to do what we exclusively want to do, we're going to find an audience and build that through people understanding where we're coming from. And I think that just holds true in any conversation, any business, any venture. So
yeah, well, somebody else already did it is so like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, the dead giveaway is our email at Gmail is Unscripted the show, because Unscripted's taken, the Unscripted show is taken. Like, other people have used Unscripted as a name for their podcast as well. What they don't know, in a few years, nobody's going to care about their show because they'll be busy listening. Yeah, I'm just saying, we're going to be at the top of the charts because we're not.
Ego just walked in.
Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah.
Boom.
I dropped the mic, but it stuck to the boom, as you just, pun intended.
So sad.
Yeah. So where are you going to be able to find us? Making sure that we cover that. We want to
everywhere.
Make sure, yeah, we're going to be, you're going to see the video on Facebook. We do have an Instagram page. We're going to be on YouTube. And then above and beyond that, we'll drop it into Anchor. So it's on Spotify, Apple, all the places you would find your audio. If you're looking at the video and saying, I can't stand looking at his face, I'll listen to this though. You can do that as well.
Yeah, of course.
And then, who you got us, and we're going to bring in those conversations like we talked about. We really want to talk about the people that are really leaning into their passion. It doesn't mean that they left their other job to go do what they love. Like, I had a great job at the tech firm and I like raising salamanders, so I'm going to go do that and go broke. That's not the point. It's what are they doing that's extraordinary that we need to talk about? And again, if you know something like that.
Or even super ordinary, right? Like I love the people who like completely are obsessed with like, I know I've told you this, like people who keep bees. Like, I need to have a conversation with you because I don't understand what it's about. People who are bird watchers. Like, I'm fascinated by that.
You can book me a guest that warrants me investing in a beekeeper's hat for no apparent reason that I can wear on the air. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or like, I feel like there's like that guy in your neighborhood who's maybe like 80-ish years old who clips their lawn with scissors, like the little, and you're like, what is it about
what's going on there? Yeah.
Why, man?
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's OCD clearly, but yeah. And like
happening?
we said, we're going to do this on Wednesdays, and sooner than later, it'll get to a point where we're hitting every Wednesday. For now, we expect that we're going to be back in your face on the 26th.
Yeah, we're going to ramp up.
And I might be lying right now, and it could very well be the 19th. We're not really sure. So I think that really brings it up to speed. We're happy to introduce ourselves. We're glad that you're here with us now. If you're enjoying the content, if you think that we are simpatico with people that you know, please share. The two most important words in social media, please share.
Share and like.
Get the word out there. Share and like, and we appreciate your support. Again, Aaron McLaughlin, Tim Lindsay, this is Unscripted, and we will see you maybe on the 26th, maybe on the 19th, maybe, who knows?
I mean, good luck finding us, apparently.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. We appreciate your time. Share and like the Unscripted show. See you guys.
Thank you.